It's Taimour Zaman. In this video, I'm going to share with you how to monetize bonds, specifically corporate bonds. And I'm going to show you the biggest mistakes a lot of brokers and business people do and how to avoid them. You've got to watch this video. Hey, it's Taimour Zaman from ALTFunds Global, previously known as LanaCredit.ai. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go ahead and do so. In the YouTube channel, what we do is decommoditize a lot of banking products, programs, services that have been in existence for over 70 years and show everyday vision-driven entrepreneurs how to leverage them to access capital that your traditional banks perhaps simply doesn't know what to do and how to do it. You'll access customer case studies, customer walkthroughs, strategies, guidelines of step-by-step, and so on. Full disclosure, we're not a law firm. I'm not going to give you any legal advice. We're not a tax accounting firm, so I'm not going to give you any tax advice. We're not an investment shop, so I'm not going to ask you to invest, in this case, corporate bonds or anything else like that. Vision-driven entrepreneurs in today's market seem to always struggle in getting access to capital that they need to grow their business, to compete, to grow their profitability, and create meaningful change in the world. Some of these vision-driven entrepreneurs access something called bonds and come to us through their brokers. Today we have over 300 brokers around the world and ask for, hey Taimour, how can ALTFunds Global help us monetize bonds? And in this video I'm going to talk to you about how to monetize something called corporate bonds. Now the truth is there's 10 million different versions of bonds. There's junk bonds, there's heritage bonds, sovereign bonds, corporate bonds, and every whole bunch of variations of a bond. And in a lot of cases these bonds are backed by something. They're backed by real estate, they're backed by gold. I've even seen bonds backed by cryptocurrency, believe it or not, Lana. So today I want to talk about how do you monetize a corporate bond specifically, how to leverage it, what's the checklist you need, and what are some options you can do, and then answer some frequently asked questions. When it comes to having a corporate bond, the checklist that you want to start with is who's the owner of the bond. If you are not the owner of the bond, you cannot monetize something you don't have. Imagine I sign up for Airbnb and I come to your house because you were on vacation and I rented your house for 10 nights through Airbnb. Would I have the permission or right to go sell your house? Probably not. If you look at the Airbnb terms and conditions, I haven't read it, but I'm pretty sure I cannot sublease your Airbnb house. Even if I did it, I probably need to have your consent and your permission. The point of the story is that we see a lot of brokers who are simply uneducated, or they simply forgot to have common sense, and they come to us with bonds where the client doesn't even own the bond. When it comes to having a bond, a lot of corporations, banks, governments, so on, and everyday corporations are raising capital, and one way that they're raising capital is through issuing a bond. So when it comes to bond monetization, especially the corporate bond monetization, the checklist that you want to start with is who's the owner of the bond. If you're the owner of the bond, then you have the right to monetize something that you're the owner of. When it comes to corporations, it's really important to know whether the corporation has revenue or not. If there's a startup corporation or a corporation that has been in existence for less than 5 years, the monetizer of the bond is taking a gamble, because can the startup corporation be able to repay the amount of money that they've borrowed from public, yes or no? So it's really important to know whether the corporation has revenues or not. If it has revenues, you're starting at minimum 25% LTV of the bond. If it doesn't, now getting a higher LTV becomes hard. And the next step after that is there insurance wrap on the bond? If it has an insurance wrap, now the bond, the LTV, the loan to value of the bond becomes much higher, jumps to like 65% or 45% or something like that, but becomes much higher value because there's an insurance wrap around the bond. If the client does not have insurance wrap, if the owner who's trying to monetize an instrument doesn't have insurance wrap, the great question to ask is, can you or are you willing to go get insurance wrap for this? Because in many cases, if you do the numbers, it makes sense to actually go get an insurance wrap for the bond. The third part is what's the rating of the bond? And if you don't have a rating, there are lots of companies like S&P, Moody's, and so on that you can contact and you can talk to one of their analysts, and for a fee that they charge, they'll provide a rating for the bond. So obviously bonds that have a high rating have a far higher LTV than bonds that don't have any rating. After the bond rating is done, the next question on the checklist that you want to have is how soon can you get liquidity? When I say how soon you can get liquidity, it's if I was the owner of your bond, in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, how long does it take for me to turn this bond into cash? If you don't have that answer, there's lots of analysts, the trade desk that you can go to, and they can help answer the question on what's the liquidity of the bond. So the checklist is, are you the owner of the bond? Yes or no? Does the corporation have revenue? Yes or no? Can you go get a insurance wrap on the bond? Yes or no? What's the rating of the bond? And then how soon can it turn into liquidity? Those are the big questions you want to answer. Once you have the checklist, now you know whether you have a bond that's monetizable or not. A junk bond, it takes a lot longer to monetize it versus if it's a corporate bond that has some assets around it and so on, as a comparison. Once the client has an instrument that's monetizable, you pretty much have 3 options. Option 1 is you can sell the instrument for cash. So let's assume this is a $500 million bond and it pays a coupon rate of 6% for the next 10 years. So a $500 million bond that pays a coupon rate of 6% is primarily a desired instrument for insurance company, trust company, maybe a family office, mutual fund like that they will want to acquire that instrument, and they're going to pay you cash, obviously at a discounted rate today for them to access that bond. So that's one option, is you're selling the instrument for cash today. A lot of different corporations that all they do is they monetize bonds. If you wanted to us or a broker that you're working with to approach one of these institutions, this is the checklist you need to have as a business owner. The second option is you don't want to sell the instrument at a discount, you want to get a loan against it. So if I had a $500 million instrument or bond as an example, I can go to a company, a lot of different banks, open up a commercial account, corporate account like that, and then leverage that bond so I can get a loan against it. And then what you can get in terms of a loan is a contract between you and the bank that you're getting the loan from. They would be able to give you the details of that. The third option, which seems to be a very desirable option for many corporations, is to leverage the bond to go into something called private placement programs, PPP, and then to leverage that program to go into a trade. And then, if it's a $500 million bond, maybe you're getting, $350 million for 10 months. Every month you're getting $350 million for 10 months like that. So it could become a very lucrative option, assuming you have a corporate bond that has a good credit rating, insurance wrap, and everything else that you need to get for yourself. I hope you find this information helpful. If you're interested in leveraging ALTFunds Global and our expertise to monetize a bond, please start with booking a consultation call with us. Once you book the consultation call and the call has been confirmed, then send in your corporate bond information with your KYC or CIS, and me or any of our senior associates would be happy to look at bond and give you some options. My name is Taimour Zaman from ALTFunds Global. My team and I around the world look forward to the option of serving you. Thank you.
We are now drawn in with complete confidence and trust, hoping that our future relationship is, much more beneficial for us. And, it is a give and take that, we are really happy to do because you're bringing a lot on our plate, and it is going to really benefit not only us, but our future generations.
What I got from you guys today is phenomenal. You answered so many things that were in the unseen to me, as far as custodial banks and non-recourse loans. It's amazing what you threw out there at me, and that was just a small piece of the pie, I know, but this is it. This is it, and I appreciate you guys for working with me, and I'm ready to move forward, and I appreciate it.
I want to go into the 250,000 or the DCL program that you mentioned in your website. Hopefully we could have a very fruitful and profitable relationship in the near future. And I look forward, very forward to working.
Awesome. Thank you so much for trusting us. I look forward to it.